Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's been a wow. It's been a while. Yes. What was the last time we had couple with Kiki? I think it was actually in August or September. It was in September before the summit. And yes, I took time off after the summit because I needed to relax, reflect, and refill. And just after that, something happened. And it was just been, since then it's been a roller coaster one here. My oldest son took ill. So oh gosh, who is this? I think that's a call coming in. But yeah, and then so obviously, let me decline that again. Obviously I had to take time off, just to be able to relax. But thank God for the team that has been keeping the ministry going. So yeah, today Uncle Kiki. So what I started before I took time off was revisiting the questions that were asked at the summit. A lot of questions were asked at the summit that we didn't have time or the opportunity to answer during the day or during the summit. So I thought I would answer a few of them, and then so for some of them I've reached out to the speakers and gotten their answers. For some of them I thought, okay, this I can handle myself. And one of the questions I was asked is, I'll read it. It says, so I think for this one we're talking about helping your son become empowered, become disciplined, and being able to take decision. And the question is, if a window of opportunity appears to have been missed to establish order and structure. So yes, this was about establishing order, discipline, structure, boundaries in the home. So the person says, if a window of opportunity appears to have been missed to establish order and structure, and it seems a teen is now set in his or her ways, what is your advice about rescuing and reversing this situation? Now, it seems like the boy or the child, the teenager, is set in his ways, and there seems to be no way out because previously there's been no order or structure in the home. But now we know better. We want to be able to put things together and help the children or the teenager live a better life. So what can we do? First of all, hope is not lost. Sometimes God gives us a second chance. And when you say a second chance with God, we're not just saying number 2 chance, but second and second and second and second, for us to be able to make things right. So if it seems like, oh, this boy is set in his ways, it might not exactly be so. So for me, my first point of call is to pray. What is the vision, or what do you visualize? What do you expect, or what would you want to see in this boy? I now go into the Bible because I'm a Christian and look for scriptures that speak to that thing. For instance, if the boy is left home early, got angry and left home, I go to the scripture and I pick up Bible and I pick up the scripture that talks about the prodigal son. And then, the scripture that talks about sowing seeds on fertile ground. I pick those kind of scriptures up. And then there's a scripture in Isaiah that says, your son and your daughters will return from afar. I pick those kind of scriptures up. If it's a scripture that, okay, the child doesn't listen, a good one is a scripture in Isaiah where it says the spirit of wise counsel is on the child. And then another one I love for that is a scripture in Psalm, I think it's Psalm 19, where it talks about the law of the Lord is good, the law of the Lord is perfect, making wise the simple. Those are kind of scripture, first of all, that I will pick, and begin to use to confess on a daily basis. And I another thing I love to do, which is spiritual, is when I'm praying about a particular thing. I know sometimes we kind of struggle to stay focused when we're praying, particularly when it doesn't seem like we're seeing that thing. I set a timeline. So I say, in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 1 month, I'm going to be praying about this topic, and I'm going to be confessing those scriptures that are found on that particular topic. So for that child, you want to be speaking those scripture over the child, whether the child doesn't even have to know, over the child, over and over and over. And then when things seem like they're not going with what you think or the scripture you're saying, don't shift your eyes. The Bible passage that says he's going to do exceeding abundantly above everything we can ever think or imagine. I use that scripture a lot to help me keep my thoughts in the right direction, because what I think, what I imagine is very important and very vital to what God is doing or going to do in my life. So that's my number 1 tip. Number 2 tip is create a vision for yourself, which I touched a bit on the first one. What is the vision? What do you want to see in this child? And keep that vision before your eyes. Do not take your eyes away from that vision. Sometimes, like I said earlier, we get distracted. Things will distract us. Remember when we started, I was sharing a few things that happened, when after the summit in my home, that I had to start asking, for help. Things will distract us. But again, it's for us to keep our eyes on that vision. Thank you everyone that is joining us. Keep your eyes on the vision and do not let the enemy deceive you. Now, again, when children seem to be not having structure, not being obedient or being rebellious, it's not necessarily that they want to be. It could be that they're struggling with something. And in this case of the question, these children are struggling with order and structure. And how do you help them get used to order and structure? Is by you not backing down. From working with parents, one thing I've seen us parents do a lot is we move boundaries as rewards. So you've said, this is what is going to be obtainable in this home. And then when the child does something, maybe gets a good grade in school, you now move your boundary as a reward. Okay, the boundary is we spend XYZ amount of time watching TV daily, for instance, because of XYZ reason. But maybe the reason is so that we can be able to have enough sleep at night. We go to bed early and we can sleep properly and wake up refreshed in the morning. Now the boy comes home with a good grade. And instead of you saying bedtime is 9 p.m. as you have agreed based on your previous, so that your reason, you now say, okay, you got a good, okay, you can go to bed at 11 o'clock. And then when the boy does something wrong, you are meant to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Blah, blah, blah. No, this gives room for confusion, and the child doesn't know what to do. So again, it makes the children feel they have to earn your love and your acceptance, which for me, I don't accept. I don't believe that my child needs to earn my love. My love needs to be unconditional. Now, earn rewards and all of that, yes, but not my love. Not boundaries are boundaries. You don't yell at your brother and then because they've done something and then you now permit yelling. No, that is not acceptable in raising children with order and structure. Also, for you as a parent, tip number 4 is, for me as a parent, I need to be able to role model order and structure. So when I say I'm going to do this, do I get up to do it? Do they see me do that thing when I say I'm going to do it? When I give my words, do I go back on my words, or I'm a woman of integrity, and do they see me live my word? The other day, I was talking to my son about, he said some things, and I was telling him about, one thing I trained them is being optimistic. And so we're talking about that thing. And that day just looked at me and said, you have a very lovely mindset. You're so optimistic. You see something good in everything. And inside of me, I was overwhelmed with joy. Because that's my prayer, that my children will see. I'm not saying there's so many things that happen in the world, but when you're looking at the next person to you, when you're looking at the situations around you, I love to see something good, because it keeps me going. I'm stuck in traffic, there's something good I am seeing. My laptop is not starting in the morning, there's something good I am seeing around it. I would see something. It's a habit in me already, and even in people around me. So how are the children, how are your teenagers, your child, what are they saying about you? What are they seeing you role model to them? You need to be able to role model order and structure if you want to help them begin to change their ways. Also, in helping them become orderly and structured, irrespective of the time of their age, one thing that works, that I've told parents to do, is reasoning with them. So I am a fan of family meeting or one-to-one meetings. In my diary, I have time put in for one-to-one with my children. Now, create time for one-to-one with them. What is it you want to talk about? A particular topic. Do not overwhelm yourself, do not overwhelm them. Don't feel that because you feel time is gone, you have to rush it. No, we can still take it one day at a time, sowing the seed of structure so that we see it grow. Remember, when you plant something, you pour water on it, you know, it will kill it. It won't grow the way it should. But when you put the water bit by bit, you would help the thing grow. So it is identifying the area you want to improve on with them, sitting down and reasoning with them, discuss it, have an agreement, have a plan. You could have the plan before you sit down with them, but what is also good is, do not present your plan first. You guys should come up with a plan together, and yours can be popping in and suggestion. Have a plan and have a review plan. So, okay, this is the plan of what we want to do. This is the area we want to pick and work on first. This is the plan. Now, how are we going to measure success? What are you going to do? What do you want to see to be able to know that this plan is being successful or is a success? And then you review it from time to time. It could be weekly, it could be fortnightly, it could be monthly. Then once you're reviewing the plan, if you need to change, you change. If you need to keep it, if it's not broken, there's no need to change it. You don't need to fix what is not broken. So if it's working, you keep it and you keep reviewing it. If it seems like it's not working, that's when you now begin to tweak it around with them by reasoning with them again. When they get it wrong, it's not time to get upset. It's not time to judge them. It's time to say, okay, yes, we miss it, but we keep going because we're getting better every day. So again, another tip off the back of that, which is tip number 5, is manage your own emotions. When they don't get it right, or things seem to be going that right way, we flare up. We throw caution into the wind as parents. Sometimes we become the children and we begin to, do things that, ordinarily you wouldn't expect your child to do as parents. But we can take a step back and think, understand how you want to react or respond to whatever happens. My son, something happened yesterday, and he said something I didn't like, and I've been talking about communication. When you talk, when you're saying something, think about how the other person is receiving it and what it means. So he said something that I felt, I don't really like the sound of this, and so I left him be, and then he went. And usually I will go to my children's room, hi, good night, I talk them in. My children are old men, they're grown men, but I still say good night to them every night. And he's been ill, so he's at home, he's been at home anyway. So when yesterday he came downstairs, I saw him, all right, take care, bye-bye, good night. I went upstairs. I didn't go to his room because I was upset about what he said. I just went into my room. I went to bed. So this morning he came downstairs and said, Mom, so much for your anger. You didn't say good night yesterday. I looked at him And he repeated it. I said, oh, so it matters. I said, yeah, of course it does. It's been a culture since they were children. I said, well, the reason why I didn't come was because I didn't like what you said, and I didn't want to flare. I want to be calm, and I didn't want to, react to what you said yesterday night. So I just felt I'll leave you to go reflect on what you said. And he said, yes, I know what I said wasn't it, but can we talk about it later? Because I was at work and going to meet, and said, oh yeah, sure, we'll talk about it later. So maybe my not going to say goodnight wasn't right, but I just didn't want, anything to bring up that thing in my head. I just wanted to sleep because I didn't like it. Seeing the challenges the boy is been through in the past couple of weeks, I didn't want to compound anything for him, so I just went straight to bed. So what are your triggers, mom, dad? What are the things that will make you misbehave or say things you shouldn't say to your son? Think about it and avoid those triggers. When you see that those triggers are there, you step back and be sure that you have a hang over your emotions before you now go out and talk about these things to these boys. Now, another thing that is most important is create time. Create time. A lot of us, particularly the folks from African background, from the diaspora, we struggle with time. We want to make a lot of money. We're working, back to back, and we struggle to create time for ourselves, let alone for the people that we love. Create time for your children. Create time. There's so many things you can do to create time, even if it is just watching a short movie, from time to time, and from that movie you would come up with topics to discuss, even if it is cooking together, cleaning together, taking a walk together. Create time, and in the process of you creating time, when you're spending time with them, you're able to talk about this thing. Our children, amazingly, they need us. They want us. They want to see that we make time for them. Even when you're making time for them, a lot of them want to, trust me, they want the time. They want your time. They want your attention. So create time for them. And talking about creating time, at Joshua Time, we have our annual Dad and I dinner every December. And the one this year is happening on the 10th of December 2022 this year. So in about 4-5 weeks time, our dinner, our 7th dinner, where we've hosted over 70 parents, over 70 fathers and their sons, at this dinner. And I want to invite you, these are avenues you can create time with your children. So if you're in London or in England, last year somebody traveled all the way from Swindon, 4 hours drive, to the dinner. Yes, that's a big sacrifice, right? I don't live in London, so we also travel about 2 hours to the dinner. So please make out time and plan to attend this dinner. The link is in my bio. It's called Dad and I Annual Dinner. So click on the link, register yourself and your son. And for you moms, it's time for us to begin to do something. You want to see a change? What are you doing? Go register for your register your spouse and your son, and have them come and have a beautiful time, a time to laugh, a time to play, a time to talk, listen to each other, play games, dance together, eat together, and live with various kinds of awards. Yes, we'll be giving awards. It's also an award night for these fathers and their sons. I look forward to having you, and I look forward to reading your comments about this video and these tips around creating order and structure with your son. It's never too late. Now is the time to begin. There's this thing they say, when is it best time to start? The best time to start is now. So pick it up and let's get these boys into being awesome young men like the God has created them to be. Thank you everyone that has joined me on this video. I love you. My name is Kiki, and I'll see you next week again.